If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to everybody for coming out this evening or watching online. We've got a couple of new faces at the table here, but before we get to that, if we could have Steph call roll.
Mac Ricken,
Here.
Ben Metzger, Rob Keller,
Here.
Eric Christensen,
Here.
Tim Mills,
Here.
Ryan Berling, and Sue Wilson. Here.
We have a quorum. First official item of business is to appoint an interim board secretary after the resignation of Mr. Vink last month. The recommendation from the administration is for Stephanie to serve as the interim board secretary until a new SBO is named. If there's any discussion. Otherwise,
I'll make
entertain
a motion.
Motion made by Sue to.
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right. Steph, if you'd stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and will you faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge all duties of the office of Board Secretary in the Indianola Community School District as now or hereby required by law? Perfect, thank you.
Welcome. Thanks.
Good news and board member reports. I've got a couple of items that I would like to share. With the construction going on at the high school and the freshmen and sophomores parking over here, administration worked hand in hand with the city on the best solution for students crossing the road. And part of that process was going through the DOT's hoops to get the speed limit reduction signs with the flashing yellow lights put up. That was a little bit more of a process than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm very excited to see that those are finally up and operational. In addition to that, gosh, it's been probably a year and a half ago, I was approached by both the high school and middle school nurses on a epinephrine pen, an EpiPen program that they had found. There's a nonprofit that supplies and provides EpiPens to school districts that are kept in the nurse's office and allowed under policy for student use, student or staff use. And we went through the process to work with one of our local physicians in town at the Iowa Clinic, Dr. Sam Gustafson, on collaborating with the district on being able to allow the prescription for those medications. And I am very excited that they are finally here and have been implemented in all of the buildings. So now we have both EpiPens as well as Narcan in all of our buildings in the event that there's a medical emergency where they need to use those. Couple of student-related reports. Our music large group activities were held in Ankeny this last weekend. We had 5 number 1 ratings and 2 number 2 ratings, so great work out of our fine arts this weekend. We also had 17 students that received a seal of biliteracy recently, and from my understanding, it's a pretty stringent process for them to go through and be vetted out that they can have conversations in multiple languages. So kudos to those 17 high school students. And then lastly here on my list is the high school project, the construction project. For everybody that has driven by or stopped and looked through the fence, a lot of stuff going on over there. Very excited to see that we are slightly ahead of project timeline on that, and we're about $300,000 under budget so far. So great work from administration and Bernie on doing due diligence to save as much money and get that project done as quickly as we can. Any other board member reports?
I was just going to add that our production of Footloose that our high school did this year got an invite to perform at the Des Moines Civic Center because they got nominated. They were chosen the recipient of the Outstanding Musical Production Award, as well as Outstanding Ensemble, Outstanding Student Orchestra, and then we had several outstanding achievements as lead roles in it. Also, a student choreographer got recognized. So, like Mac talked about before with the choirs, between the choirs and Footloose, and I know a lot of this overlaps, but we're talking about like 400 of our students. So awesome that way. And then I also know that there's a lot happening. A lot of track records are being broken right now by all 7th grade all the way up, and I know the soccer programs are having a good year, and so we get to keep enjoying this beautiful weather. So that's awesome. I know kids are ready. 2 more weeks, they're ready to be done. So I think this year's gone by incredibly fast, and so I just wanted to thank all of our staff and teachers and administrators for having I think it was a great school year. So yeah, now we're on the home stretch.
Anyone else? Okay. Next item is communications and public comment. Do we have anybody that has signed up to speak this evening? Okay. Consent agenda is up next. Are there any items that we need to pull and have discussion on? If not, entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion made by Tim,
Second.
seconded by Eric. Any further discussion?
So just so I understand this, for this, the cooperative sharing agreements are for this next coming, and we used a rubric now of if our sports are at risk of having low numbers, then we can bring in those other schools. Is that kind of how we came up with who?
I believe so.
Okay,
And usually they'll reach out and ask, and then we'll see what our numbers are.
Perfect.
And if we can take on those.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. This is the fun part of the evening. The next item is our
He
presentations.
probably wouldn't call this the fun night of his evening, but.
Knows me pretty well.
I am thankful Mr. Kluver agreed to come and present. So I talked to him much earlier in the year, and when Tara had asked us to bring different presentations to the board, and this is one area that I think, as sometimes in other instances, we picture in our minds what courses are like based on what we experienced going to school. And I think that's definitely true for PE. We all have memories and emotions, and this is what we think PE is about. And so I asked Mr. Kluver to come and kind of give an overview of some of the work that's been going on at the high school PE department, and in specific to the platform software.
Yeah.
So
I'm Eric Kluver, finishing my 21st year here at Indianola High School, and times have changed from the PE classes where everyone just did the same thing. Now we have all these different course offerings, and one of the ones that I teach is total body fitness and conditioning. We have a beginner class, and then we also have an advanced class. So the prerequisite, you take the beginner, that's slowed down a lot more technique being taught. So a lot of modifications involved with this. But tonight I'm here to speak about the digital platform that we use that is really incredible. I've gone my whole life through sports and lifting workouts like this, and you always had charts and you had to figure stuff out on your own, and this is all customized to the individual on their strength, and it's individualized. So it's just we started this probably 7 years ago, so we've been at it for quite a while. But digital platform offered structured fitness, strength, and wellness programs. I always got I always heard the comments, well, this is a football workout. I'm the football coach and have been the longtime football coach here, but that's not the case. That's one of the reasons I went to this, because there's hundreds of schools around the country following the same programs as this, and it's mainly tailored to the high school and middle school level. I know we use it more so at the high school level, and there are all kinds of different curriculum. Our health teachers use this as well. I use it as a 4-day program because it fits into our schedule. We meet 4 days a week, and so that we use an out-of-season program, and everything's aligned with the SHAPE American National Standards for Physical Education. This kind of gives you, I just took a picture of one of our students' phones. Our students either need their cell phone, which they love, okay, or they can use their Chromebook. And so you'll see a wide variety of phones or Chromebooks kind of laying around the weight room, but and I'll talk about how that's going to change coming next year. But all kinds of different programs, like I mentioned, they're all customizable and really meet the needs of all of our students. If you look on that, it really tracks the students. Like on my end, I can see how long, first off, if they're logged in, because I will have some students that show up to the weight room and they don't have their program up and just kind of want to do what they want to do. Well, then I have the opportunity to say, show me your program, and then we get that up and running. But how long their program's been going, it shows sets and reps and how much weight they need to have on the bar. In years past, you had to figure that all out on your own. So it really is slick. There's a lot of mobility, flexibility, other wellness programs as well. We can go ahead to that next one. This just kind of shows the national standards through SHAPE, but let's go to that next one, and it kind of breaks each one down. We do a lot of foundational movements, squats, lunges, presses, pulls, hinges, and it really helps us out. It emphasizes the proper technique and progression that is needed to be successful in the class. Skills applicable across for physical activity and sports. I will say this, even though we get a lot of athletes in there, my best students typically are the non-athletes. They have an opportunity to come in, learn how to lift weights, learn proper technique, and be able to do that during the school day. A lot of students don't have the means to have a membership outside of school, so this has been really good for our students. A couple pictures of our students working out there. Number 2 there, just application of movement concepts. There's a lot of training philosophies that the students need to understand. Overload principles, how are we going to get stronger? You have to push yourself. And this program helps us do this. Encourages lifelong movement and literacy. Like I said, hopefully our students are able to continue to do this once they leave our high school. We'll go on to the third one there. Achieving and maintaining physical fitness. One of the nice things I like about the platform program on my end, so we might do pull-ups one day. It will actually tell me how many pull-ups the class did the last time we assessed that, how many they did this time, and then I can report to the class, hey, we're up 12 total pull-ups and we're up 13% as far as a class. And it will do that throughout the semester, our 18-week program that we do this. So I think that's always nice for our students to not only hear but see the improvements they're making through their hard work. Number 4, responsible behavior. They all have partners. It's called spotting. There's certain lifts that they have to assist, and if they don't, their partner may be in jeopardy of getting hurt. So they got to rely on each other, and it really helps with that. I think we can go to the next one there. Benefits to our district, meets state and national curriculum expectations, enhances student engagement and fitness literacy, supports differentiated instruction. As far as this program, like I talked about pull-ups, not every student can do a pull-up. I doubt I could do a pull-up right now. So they have the opportunity to use bands or be assisted. So there's not one lift through this program that they're not going to be able to do. Some students have to use 2 bands, but boy, they are very excited and they're thrilled they're able to do a pull-up in the end. So it's been a great program, very beneficial to our students. I don't know if that was our last one. Oh, I know I want to talk about this because Coach Breitbarth, I don't know what the state law is with the cell phones and how they're going to be able to be used, but as I mentioned, our students either have a cell phone or a Chromebook. We're now going to have iPads that are mounted to each rack, and in platform there's something called Rack View. So now we're going to be able to pull up 5 students' workouts on one iPad. I won't get the students that say, hey, my Chromebook isn't charged today, or my mom and dad took my cell phone away, which I hear every once in a while. So now it's on me to have those charged up. They'll be mounted. They'll be able to get on that iPad. They'll be able to pull up their workout. Very slick. And you can kind of see, I have a picture there of some Chromebooks laying on the floor. It's probably not the most ideal thing. I'm sure Ray would scratch his head when he would come in and watch a class, but because there's a lot of bars bouncing and weights moving. So I really think that'll be very beneficial to our class moving forward next year. And I got 113 students in my total body classes right now. All of our athletes, we use this as a summer program, so it gets used a lot. I think that's about it that I need to share, unless there's some questions that some of you may have.
Coach, did you have to get trained on this? And how many of you guys are trained on it, or is it pretty self-explanatory?
It's self-explanatory. They're great. They have customer service they're emailing me all the time because they see how much we use it. Hey, how can we continue to grow this in your district type? But you don't need to be trained. It's real simple. Something that I forgot to mention that is just absolutely awesome. Your program, if a student doesn't remember a lift or they're not quite sure, there is a video to every single. They can just hit play, they watch it for a little bit. Oh, I remember this, and then they're able to go perform during class. So it brings technology into the weight room, which didn't happen for a long time, but it's here and we use it.
Does it have the capacity for our individual sports to create their own workouts? So
Absolutely.
So soccer could come in and go through it with
Yep.
you, and you could.
I used to have a football workout on here, any sport, and you can customize your own. Like if you don't want to pick one that's been made by platform, I can adjust, I can take something out, insert something else if there's certain lifts. You're an athletic trainer, hey, hamstring injuries. How are we going to develop the posterior chain? Let's add a few more of those types of exercises and so on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's come a long way.
It has come a long ways.
What are some of the additional courses that you have outside of this one?
So we have personal fitness. We also have individual dual rec. We have team games. We have our peer PE, and then we have the total body classes, beginner and advanced. So the students really have 4 different tracks that they can choose from. I think it was, boy, it must have been 8, 9 years ago, we had the opportunity to go to Johnston, and we kind of developed these courses. They had 8 different courses. But that's what we have right now as far as our curriculum
That's great.
and class offerings.
Any other questions?
Is there a nutrition component
There
that's
are.
part of the app?
Absolutely is. And like I mentioned, our health instructors use this quite a bit as well. So all kinds of content on nutrition, and it's pretty elaborate. It really is once you dive into it.
Record video of you eating ice cream?
What's that?
Does it record video of you eating ice cream?
Not yet, but I love it.
Well, thanks, Coach, for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having
Talking
me.
to us about that.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Really quick, I'm going to come around the other side of the table. Invite Donna Kramer to come up and join me. I think it's important for wherever you want.
I'll
We
just
want to
turn
take some,
circles.
yeah, we want to take some pictures, so where are you going to be?
Yeah, we'll go this way if you want to come around the other side. Before I present this to you, I want to share with the community, just from my perspective, on what it's like to be a board member. And you don't really know what you're getting into until you've gotten into it.
Nope, you don't.
And for you to serve your term and then volunteer to come back when Tim had his deployment and had to leave was exceptional. And I really appreciate that, just knowing the amount of work and the criticism that come along with the job. So very much am pleased to present you with your 5 years of dedicated service instead of 4. I hope that you'll hang this up. And then I also want to give you a lifetime pass for,
You got to take it off video.
This is why my kids don't let me do that.
2.5.
a lifetime pass for sporting and activities.
Oh, awesome.
So
Thank you, Matt.
thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
Appreciate your service.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna extend that to all of you, as School Board Appreciation Month. There are certificates sitting at your table in your spot, but nobody knows the work that you put in behind the scenes. You don't just show up at the board meeting and open your agenda, but it's the questions, it's are we doing what's right? It's the morning meetings that help make the decisions of the district. And so I thank all of you, Donna, you included, for the work that you put into making this district the best that it can be and continue to push us to be better tomorrow than what we are today. And so thank you for all of your work.
Thank you. Thank you. In addition to Donna's board retirement, we also have several staff members that are retiring this year. And I really quick want to run through the list and thank them individually. So we've got Stephanie Becker with 26 years of service, Sue Crosby with 25, Pam Dennis with 22, Becky Grip with 8, Debbie Kernrad with 10, Leanne Poulsen with 29, Susan Sherman with 18, and Stacy Wood with 21. So thank you guys very much for a lot of combined years of dedicated service to the district, the community, and that'd be a lot of students if we added those all up for that many years. So thank you to all of you. Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing for the high school baseball and softball improvements project. So at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Are there any members of the community that would like to speak in the public hearing? Okay. With that being said, we'll close the public hearing.
You did receive, and I put them in front of you, just some written comments, not necessarily about the bids, but about the logo. So those I'll put in as documents for the public hearing as well.
Next item on the agenda is the 2025 graduation list presented by Mrs. Paul and Mr. Seaversma.
Yes, so graduation is in between the two board meetings, and so we ask that you approve this list contingent on all of these students meeting the requirements of the Indianola Community School District and the state of Iowa. At graduation, I will certify that all students have met those requirements that are seated and presented at graduation. So this is the initial list. It will be on Mr. Seaversma and myself to keep that close eye on these graduates to make sure that they have completed that before graduation on the 25th.
Rob,
I'll
how
make a
cool is
motion to
it?
approve the list.
Rob, how cool is it to see your son's name on that list?
It's pretty cool.
Do you feel old?
Yes, I actually do. Every single day I feel so yeah, I'll make a motion to approve that list.
Motion made by Rob,
Second.
seconded by Sue. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Letter B is the 2025-2026 contracts, letters of assignments, benefit summaries for administrators, administrative support, extended contracts, and coaches and sponsors that are included for approval. There's a lot of different groups here.
And there are 2 benefit sheets as well, just for your knowledge, and to make sure that those are updated as well. All but the activities and sponsors follow the 3.1% that teachers had. And so I do make a recommendation that you approve these as presented.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have it. Ask now?
Yeah?
Okay. And this, so the administrative support specialist, those, are they given how many hours a week they're allowed to work, or how many hours during a season they're allowed to work, or when they're hourly, is that, like, do they have a guideline on where they're working, or?
It depends on the individual, so it
Okay.
depends on the job
Okay.
in there. And so some of them are, a 210 or a 260. So the 260 is the 2,080 hours. And so that would be equivalent to what their rate would be. Or that would be applied to that. If they're 210, it's like 1,060 hours, something like that.
Okay.
So it just kind of depends on what their job classification is and their letter of assignment.
Okay.
Shelley, anything to add to that?
I think with a couple of exceptions, almost everybody is full-time on their work 40 hours a week. The other ones know they're budgeted for a certain amount. Usually the SBO shares with them that you're budgeted for this many days, and they try to work within that.
So are these yearly? Like, these are yearly contracts, right? So once we get our building up and moving, and we realize that we'll just use the theater department is way more busy because we have a brand new facility and rentals go up and they have to be there, that's all negotiable as the year comes or whatever.
Right, with our SBO. They just talk about they try to budget for what they're having.
Yeah.
The only question I had was on vacation time. So if they carry a balance forward, they just have to use whatever balance they carried forward within the first 90 days of the next year, right? Okay.
And I imagine the benefits pretty darn competitive with the area schools and the other, you know what I mean, as far as sick days and vacation days and stuff like that. It's
We're pretty traditional.
pretty traditional, pretty comparable to what we have around.
The state law is that you start everybody with 10 sick days.
Oh,
And
okay.
then the next year they get 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we made a decision 15 years ago, I believe, or more, starting everybody at 15.
Okay.
And that applies to teachers, facility staff, everybody that's eligible for vacation time. And it's the same for administrators and admin support specialists.
Oh, awesome. Very good.
And Tim, back to yours, we have a system called Red Rover that actually tells you if you're using this year's or next year's and when you have to use that time up by. So everybody has knowledge of when that time has to be used.
And then your military leave, you just deal with that on a case-by-case basis, right?
So,
Your military leave for like a deployment or anything like that, if you have teachers for that, you just deal with that on a case-by-case basis, right?
It's 30 days. That's probably it.
Discussion. Entertain a motion for approval on those.
Motion to approve the list of 2025-2026 contracts, letter of assignment, and benefits summaries.
Motion made by Ryan, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
I did forget, I've had people ask us to speak up louder when we talk. Because people are saying they can't hear us when we speak, and I was supposed to, I'm sorry, you asked me to do that, and it's only 30 minutes into the meeting, I'm sorry. But they're having a hard time hearing us.
Okay.
So if we can just speak more this way, be better. Sorry.
Okay, moving on to the curriculum meeting minutes from last week.
Huh?
Fill in when you need to. You took much better notes. So there's this interim Iowa statewide assessment of student progress results, and I guess that's kind of an interim result that you receive before the end of the year, right? And so it's kind of beneficial to have that before the end of the year to make potential adjustments. Or I don't think when we talked, you can't get individualized scores just yet, but class by class from 2024 to 2025.
Principals have access to them. They might not contain all the data that are in the finalized reports just yet,
Okay.
but they can access those,
Okay.
the interim ones.
And the important part of this is that it gives you the increase in proficiency measurement is what it, for a class from 2024 to 2025 for like their ELA scores. So, and we got to see some of those in the meeting, and it's kind of nice to see that because that's kind of our overall weight for the year. So, and it does math and science too, right? I mean, those scores are going to be part of that interim assessment, math and science, yeah. So, clean it up.
Oh, that's good on the first one. Growth versus proficiency is a lot of what we talked about,
Yeah.
individual and as a class.
So that'd be cool to see.
Mhm.
And then the curriculum, there are quite a few science, social studies selections that we need to approve today that have been kind of vetted, kind of similarly. College professors at Simpson reviewed these works and these books and gave reviews. Teachers, students, staff, kind of a large group of folks overlooked these, kind of like we do approving textbooks and the language arts like we did last year. So there are, I think, 11 or something. Is there a list that's on on that?
There'll be an action item
Oh,
for that.
okay, okay. So that'll be coming up. And Sue, what would be the next one? Project Lead the Way. Code Ed.
We talked about just program and curriculum review, kindergarten through 12th. We look at everything for visions of the program, legislation. Our PLC communities meet on Wednesdays. They look at different standards and our college career readiness. Project Lead the Way is, we've had a lot of instructional turnover in the last 5 years, so our administrative team really met, like what are some ways we can strengthen this? And so I don't think we combined engineering and computer science, but we offered them more often or differently or swapped some.
So we have 4 courses at the high school currently, and we'll keep the 2 engineering courses. The 2 computer science ones, we're just going to use some different materials for that. At the middle school, there's some transition as to what's going to be offered there, which allows us also to add that career investigations course.
And that's gonna be a middle school course, right?
Right.
And that's under that, do you want to talk a little bit about code.org?
So Code.org is really a national but also global company that provides all kinds of training, software, materials for computer science, and it's all aligned to our computer science standards. We utilize that currently at our elementary grade levels, and so they also had some matching type modules at the high school level, so we're going to try those this next year instead of those 2 Project Lead the Way computer science courses in order to try and build student excitement back in there and to raise the enrollment in those courses. We just don't have enough students that are expressing interest in that, and so we're still going to offer that type of class, but try to do it a little bit differently. So
Well said, much better than I could have done. And then they just explained a little bit about the teacher leadership and compensation, and so every year our teachers can apply to be part of the teacher leadership, collaboration and innovation teams, focus groups, instructional coaches. And so those applications are currently open.
they closed on the 8th, and so they're being scored now. And some of those comments on that flyer, you have that at your tables from some of our teachers expressing how that's helped them to grow as leaders and how they contribute back to our district from being able to have those opportunities.
Any questions for curriculum? Now we move on to the social studies and science curriculum recommendations.
Can we make a motion for all of them as one motion?
Unless you want to pull one out to discuss separately.
I'll make a motion that we approve the high school, you scrolled away from my verbiage, right? To approve the science and social studies curriculum for the Indianola High School as presented.
Motion made by Sue.
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The Human Resources Committee meeting report from April 17th. You want that, or you want me to take it?
You can take it off, Dylan.
All right. Went through hiring updates for 2024, 2025. Feel like we're in a little bit more positive spot today than we were then. There's quite a few openings that we've had great success getting applicants for. Talked about the Every Student Success Act from 2015, No Child Left Behind, around Title I funds, and really how we're able to utilize that to reduce the gaps in their achievement that happens. And into conversation around long-term sub-needs, There was some money for each school that we talked about. You might have to refresh my memory on that part.
So there, because of the identification, underneath the report card, state report card, Laura Ingalls Wilder and Whittier received some additional funds to help in the areas of where their gaps are. Sarah, fill in as we go, but because of the timing of this and the short time, we chose to spend at LIW in reading with long-term sub, and at Whittier in math, again with a long-term sub. These dollars came to us in February, so we really didn't have an opportunity to scour applicants, look for applicants to fill these positions for all year. So we determined long-term sub, get them in, get them started right away. Both of them meet the criteria of being able to fill in Title I schools with the endorsements that they have as long-term subs. And so that's how we chose to use those dollars, $24,000 in each of the buildings in there. This next year, the hope is to have the identifications out earlier, so those funds are accessible for a longer period of time. And we can do it maybe from October through the end of the school year versus February through the end of the school year. Part of that holdup was Iowa applied for a different accountability measure at the federal level, and so we had to wait for the federal level to give us the approval to do that.
We talked about our need for coaches, and really with Ryan being new in his role, going through and determining, what the need was for athlete to coach ratio in each of our programs. And when that was completed, they came back with a list of needs to really fill the void on having too many students per coach. So you can see those listed: boys track, boys soccer, girls soccer. We added part-time coach positions to those three areas. And then we additionally discussed special education needs at Laura Ingalls Wilder by filling a long-term sub position with a former retired special education teacher to the district to come through and kind of help with some additional needs that were out there. Did either of you have anything you wanted to add to that?
You did a great job.
Continuing on, talked about retirements and resignations, replacements, kind of what that looked like, how we were going to facilitate some of that stuff towards the end of the year. Discussed the meet and confer handbook for certified staff the meet and confer handbook, certified staff, and the associate handbook process. Discussed the preschool update as far as enrollment and the wait list, and then discussed some part-time teacher turnover, part-time teacher positions that had turned over, really more or less because of the half-time FTE on those. So talk through kind of what that looks like and what administration would like to do moving forward with those. There's a lot of stuff in that meeting.
There was.
Any questions? Okay.
Do we have an update on any of those positions, Shelley? Like the district facility scheduler or anything like that, or we're just holding, this was all?
That's the next thing I think on the agenda.
Okay.
District facility schedule.
One of the topics in that meeting was adding a position, district facility scheduler is the name of the position. Really, this position is going to assist in the athletic fine arts area on helping with scheduling of not only our space, but the way that we have students participating in some of the activities. Is that right, Shelley? Plan, go ahead, sorry.
Well, the funding's out of the Pearl account.
Yep, that was what I was gonna scroll down to. So funding out of this from Pearl, $26.10 an hour is the rate on the position. And this position would report to the activities director?
Probably facilities.
Facilities?
Because
Okay.
it's more of a facility position. Envisioning this position would collect all the insurance needed, making sure that they have outside community groups, have the insurance that's needed, have custodial staff, making sure that they can follow up with custodial staff on needs, as well as afterwards, did we get everything cleaned up the way we needed to? Do we have all the follow-up done so that we can use it and use it again? So.
Do we have a rubric or a point system on when it comes down to our facilities and a varsity program, a school program versus a club program versus like, do we have a point system on how this works?
As far as priority goes?
Yeah. Are we creating one or do we have one? Okay.
Currently, Ryan does the scheduling for the district, and they give the priority, of course, to our students, and then class would be outside groups if there's still room availability.
I just want to make sure we have something.
Do we charge?
Yeah, there's a fee schedule that finance looks at every year. I think it was approved in, yes, it was just updated back in August.
By us as the board or by, okay. Sorry, I don't remember that, but sounds great. Glad we do that.
And it's based on school group, nonprofit group, and for-profit. And so there's 3 different levels of that fee schedule.
And is there significant interest from the community in renting our facilities?
Yeah. We have just this weekend, we had a small track meet that was a big track meet. And so on Sunday, yesterday, we had groups in, and I didn't even realize this, but we had some from out of state that were actually coming in for this track meet, and it's like an A track. Yeah, and so we went by going to church, and I'm like, what's happening? And then Bernie's like, oh yeah, we have a track meet going on there, and it was packed. It's packed.
This whole parking lot was full.
Yeah, it was.
The park too close to me.
Do we have staff on site for that?
And that's what this person would help us.
So they would be at one of our
determine.
on-site
Yeah.
staff too?
Yeah. And then how many custodians do we need? And it's going to sound ridiculous, but how many times do we need to clean
Yeah.
the bathrooms to make sure that those are up to par and all of those things? Right now, we have both Bernie and Ryan working on those outside entities when they could be working on things for us in there, so. This position is hopefully to help take some of that off and that we're not missing a step in as we're organizing all these things.
It's not just athletic activities, right? You've
No,
got
it would
community
be-
theater, you've got dance recitals going on.
So it'd be all our facilities, yeah.
Yep. And to
All the
your,
gyms.
the question, we always try and do what we have for our students first and then layer the outside community into that.
Guess, it begs the follow-on second and third order effect is just in the example that you gave, Tara, is that a particular building and whatever fee schedule we have for that might not always be the only question to ask and answer, because the staff requirement for cleaning restrooms multiple times during the day or whatever that may look like, there appears to be a tail on some of these things that we would need to capture as well, a support fee, if you will, that's somehow graded, Shelley, to your point on what the long-term use of that facility is or whatever.
what you're, yeah, I'm in favor of it. If you're looking for a motion, I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Tim. Seconded by Ryan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Technology Committee report from April 22nd.
You want or you want me to?
You can go.
We covered the phone system replacement, looking at some different quotes there. I think it's a pretty good idea where we're headed. Talked about the updating audio visual for district offices and conference rooms, and kind of piloting some of that new hardware right now. Looking at a Google Drive backup solution, and really maybe looking for something that's a little more dedicated. I guess those are some big items. Ray, anything else you'd add?
Just to add, the phone system is out for bid right now. Please see the RFP is on our website. District Operations Center, the Aviator is about 99% done right now. We just need to do a little training within the building there. And then the other pieces still need to be done, so making some progress.
Any questions for IT? Okay, moving on to finance and facilities. We do not have the April financials completed and reviewed yet this month with Chad's departure and having Jonna coming in part-time, a day or two a week. We're still working through trying to get that finalized. The plan at this point is to bring Finance Committee the monthly financials for review on the 20th. And if we have a special meeting or anything between then and our next regular meeting, we can approve those at that point, or we can approve them in June with the May financials. Any questions on that? Okay, we've got the Finance Committee meeting report from April 15th. We discussed a potential budget amendment. It has now been determined that we are not going to need to do that. We talked about construction financing updates with Piper Sandler, trying to figure out really best timeline on the high school phase 2 project, whether we look at any bond anticipation notes or whether we enter into that as we had originally planned in 2027. And I'm sure that there will be several more conversations before we fully decide what we want to do and as a board on that. So that really took up a big chunk of that. That meeting was just kind of talking through the bond options and what the benefits looked like without, I guess, speculating too much. Personally, for myself, I like the idea of the bond anticipation notes just because it keeps the project moving along and we don't necessarily have that additional construction inflation cost if we were to wait. So I'm excited to see what their projections look like when they get that put together and brought back to us at some point here, hopefully in the next month or two.
And in layman terms, bond anticipation notes is really a bridge loan between one project to the next. And so how do we get that promissory note out so that we can continue the project without a gap that we originally thought would be a year to 18 months, that we won't have to have that gap. We can just move right into the second phase.
Any questions? Okay. Facilities Committee meeting report from last week.
So we met on the 7th. First topic was consider baseball, softball renovation project bid results. Bernie and Tara updated the committee on the bid process and shared 4 bids. DDVI coming in as the low bid for the project with a base bid of $2.671 million. The recommendation to the full board would be to award the bid to DDVI for that amount. We got an update on the district operations center and the main entrance door and some functionality issues that they've had with that. They met with Graphite and did have the door company on site this week to review with Graphite as well. The old administrative building, we had a discussion about that. There still appeared to be a need for that building. And so that we discussed about why would we tear down a facility that we could still make use of. The facilities committee was supportive of that. Fire alarm inspection proposals had 3. We have a 3-year renewal time. Bernie shared the process for gathering quotes and the matrix used. He basically had a rubric that he put together. I was really impressed. And kind of outlined, weighted criteria on the price, the responsiveness and all that kind of stuff, and had done a lot of work. The recommendation was to continue to go with FACP, who has been good, very responsive service so far, and they're already going to be doing some work at Laura Ingalls Wilder. That's pretty much the bulk of what we discussed.
Any questions for Tim? There's 2 action items. First is the consideration for bids on the baseball and softball improvement project, and following that will be the fire alarm inspection company approval.
Make a motion to approve and award the contract to DDVI of Indianola for the baseball and softball improvement project.
Motion made by Sue to approve the recommendation for DDVI with the cost of $2,671,626.60 base bid.
Second.
Seconded by Ryan. Any further discussion?
That's why I made you say the numbers,
You're
because you're a math guy, not me.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Like I said, the next item is the fire alarm inspection company. Recommendation is to continue a good working relationship with FACP of Iowa for the fire alarm inspection for the amount of $37,548 for all the buildings and district fire alarm systems.
I'll make a motion. Well, you just said, do you want me to read
No,
it?
that's fine.
Okay.
Motion made by Sue,
Second.
seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right. This is the second favorite part of the night. Getting into all the policies. As you can see, we have no review-only policies this month. We have a decent chunk from the 500 series for revisions on a first reading. We have 4 that have been rescinded, which they've actually just been reassigned to a different policy. We haven't gotten rid of them. We have none with minor updates, and then none for new policies. When we met to go through the revisions on the 501s, really it again, like the last several months, it's come from IASB's audit process for us, and most of the changes outside of small grammar stuff is really updating current code sections and changing really any verbiage. So not a ton of material changes from the committee itself. All of this was directed from IASB.
Do we have the final updates or revisions on the truancy?
No, and we won't have those probably until July,
Oh,
August.
okay.
Because right now that they've been signed, now they go through, are there any discrepancies between the legal codes and which legal code trumps the other before we get to, here's what it means. And here's
There was
what
quite a
else it means.
bit of feedback on that this year in the legislation. What were there big changes that came about?
The big changes are, we have a little more discretion as to which ones get turned over to the truancy officers
Gotcha.
at the county office. And then we don't have to send them by certified mail any longer, because what was happening is we would send them and nobody would receive them. So we would spend the $6 to send them, only to get it back in there. And so we can now send them electronically. We could put it in Power School. They've just opened that up a little bit.
Eric or Ryan, did I leave anything out on any of the revisions? Okay, does anyone have any questions?
So on the transportation, so allowing another district to come into our district to pick up a child that open enrolls, that is based on a student's request for that, correct? And then is there a financial obligation that we incur, or is that all packaged as?
It's all packaged as part of the
Okay.
open enrollment.
Okay.
So we do receive transportation dollars that follow the student when they leave, and so this would go with them. So sometimes you'll hear transportation equity in legislation, and that's what they're talking about, is the money that we receive to transport students. We receive a little bit more than maybe another district, and they're trying to get all districts at an equal rate. That's all to say, we receive funding for transportation and to transporting students.
And we would be able to keep that funding if the student did not request. Got it. Thanks.
And that specific policy is mandated.
Yeah.
Any other questions? On the rescinded, like I said, all four of those are moved over to other policies, and it's noted on there where they went.
And if you review those and you have questions, let me know, because that 501.9, the language is rescinded and then replaced. So 501.9, the number gets renamed in different language, so it's complicated. So if you get confused, let me know, and we can walk through that.
Entertain a motion to approve the first reading of those policies. Yeah.
Motion to approve the first reading of the 501 series as listed.
Motion made by Ryan.
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Second reading, from last month, there were no changes in the committee meeting on any of those. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Motion made by Eric. Seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. You okay, Rob?
Fell down the stairs, sounds like.
Sorry, watching two dogs at the same time.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We've got the calendar attached for through the middle of July. The only item that I would like to add on here, if you guys are okay with that, would be, oh, looks like you're in there trying to add it right now. No? Maybe?
No, that's a a doc, I can't.
Gotcha. We've reached out to IASB on our goal planning session. They are available on June 9th for a work session, which is a second Monday, be a regular board meeting night. So have our regular board meeting and then go into a work session after that. Try to keep it to like 8:30, 9 o'clock at the very latest. Would it be beneficial if we had a meal that evening? Or do you guys want to just try to get through it as quick as we can?
When are we starting again? What's the
A
purpose?
regular meeting at 5:30 and then start the work session 6:30 or so.
Do a working meal.
Yep, just something easy.
Okay. Sue, does that work for you?
Okay.
June 9th.
We'll get that confirmed with ISB and add it to,
Is there pre-work that needs to be done before this meeting, or somebody will clue us in on what we need to come prepared, ready to look at or review, or make sure we're all on the same page as to what we're doing,
yes,
so we don't have some meltdowns?
yes.
Okay.
I will work really hard to get the evaluation sent out to you guys by the end of this weekend at the latest. And in addition to that, between the two of us, we can get you guys out the information on where we left off last time so that we've got a good spot to start on.
And the June meetings work for all administration staff still? Board calendar looks good for
Yes.
all the 7 a.m.s for staff
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're on the 26th.
of June. See, that's what I'm saying. As vacations come in, like, are these still good meetings? Like HR still works? Curriculum's
As long as it
on.
works for you.
Yeah, I won't be here for technology either, so
Jared, can you let us know?
I'll take care of it.
it'd be great.
So we'll just take the June IT off. Gonna take the June IT off. Okay.
Policy in June, is that moved to Tuesday, or did I not listen to something that just happened because I
I,
was focused?
on the 24th.
Yeah. That's for Tuesday, so I know that's not a typical day. But
Well, now I'm trying to look and see.
is there a reason?
Yeah, normally we have that on Thursdays, don't we?
Yeah.
Maybe technology and policy just got flipped.
I think they did.
Yeah, we got flipped. 26.
Do you want to move that?
It doesn't make any difference to me. Just whatever works best for the two of you. Is Thursdays better for you?
Let's keep
Keep it simple, probably, because my staff knows the mornings that I can do early appointments.
policies on the 26th.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
As far as May goes, the remaining committee meetings in May are still a go.
Just May 27th, is that the only one, or is there one of them?
The 15th, so this Thursday is HR. Next Tuesday is finance. Next Thursday is policy. And then the following Tuesday is tech. Okay.
And then you all should have received an email from Stacy Johnson regarding graduation.
If you guys want to print off that list, if there's any students that you guys want to make sure you're handing the diploma to ahead of time, they'll have the list on our chairs when we get there that are highlighted by color. But like we've done in the past, if Aiden falls in me, Rob and I can fight it out on the stage.
Pretty sure I know who will win.
I'm
Take
pretty
the
sure I know
picture.
too. No, if there's anybody in particular that you guys want to give diplomas to, that's great. And
Got a few in this class.
What's that?
I said I got a few in this class.
I figured you probably would. So we will get an email out on what time to meet and where. Does everybody know whether they're going to be there or not?
Yes.
I did. Okay. Okay. Anything else for the greater good? Motion made by Ryan to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. Meeting's adjourned.
See you guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.